Today I want to tell you my experience about using the Brio Raze Head shaver for the last 30 days. Now, as a disclaimer, I was compensated for a few video clips of me using the Brio Raze for their website if they decided to use it. However, this review is completely my thoughts. They had no oversight about what I say or what I think about their product. So, as always, this review is in 100% honesty. And I think that I did a pretty good job of putting it through its paces, as I used this with shaving cream, without shaving cream. I used it in and out of the shower, as well as just dry on my head, just sitting at my computer or working on something. In fact, the last few videos that I made, I used this right before I recorded. And in the 30 days, I surprisingly only had to charge this up once. Now, Brio says that it can go 20 shaves without needing a charge, which I would have to agree with, provided that those shaves are consecutive day after day, because you are going to end up shaving for a bit longer if you go 2 or 3 days without shaving, which will obviously use more battery, which cuts down on how many shaves you're actually gonna get out of it. Now, during my usage time, I actually never noticed a time where I felt like it was uncomfortable, so the Raze is a fairly ergonomic. I never felt like I needed to contort or move the razor in a different direction or force it anyhow to be able to get the hair that I needed it to get. And all the times that I shaved, I never noticed that my fingers or my wrist were stressing. It just fits really nicely in the palm. Once you turn it on, it's just a move the thumb up deal, and you can get very easily wherever you need to get to without stressing your wrist or your fingers at weird angles on it, trying to get a good enough grip. And I think that a part of the reason why it's so comfortable is because it's just big enough where my hands, which aren't particularly large, can hold it, but yet it's large enough that I think somebody with larger hands wouldn't have a problem getting comfortable with it either. Now, as far as how it actually shaves, I find for a shaver, it did a adequate job. It got down about as close as that I would ever expect a shaver to get. Now, mind you, that is pretty darn close. It's close enough that somebody that's not touching your head probably isn't gonna really know the difference between a razor shave and a shaver shave, unless if they get really close to your head or are touching it. Now, I found that I liked the center ring controlling the outer 4 a little bit more than I thought that I would. Partially just because that means that the entire thing is one easy piece to remove, but mostly it seems like because that shaft is going to that center ring, it just makes sense because it helps those outer rings stay nice and close to the scalp. Now, although you could go more than 3 days without shaving with the Brio, I would highly suggest not doing that. In fact, I would say probably no more than every other 2 days, because after that, you are definitely extending the amount of time that it will take to shave the hair down, because you will need to make multiple passes and go slower to make sure that you're getting as much of the hair as you can. And I really do think that shavers like this one are optimally used if you are using them every day for just a minute or two to get all of the previous day's hair growth anyway. Now, anything longer than 2 days, I would definitely do 2 passes on, if not 3. And the way that I did this is I would do 1 pass up and down all the way around, then I would come back and do smaller rings all around my head, and if I still felt a few places, I would go ahead and do the small circles once again to make sure that I got everything. But if I just went 1 day, it was very simple just to do small ring passes all the way around the head once, and I was good to go. By the way, you'll notice I say around the head because, well, I don't have much up there, so it was just a zip, 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 and then it was done. But for you that still have hair up there, you're gonna have to, make sure you get up there too. Now, I've told you of my experience of using it, but you might want to know how it stacks up to the other 2 shavers that I've reviewed, which is, of course, the Dynabliss and the Ghost head shavers. And so, although I'm not going to be doing a direct comparison in this video, I am going to tell you that in the category of comfortability, this one is probably a bit more comfortable than the other 2, just because of the way that it fits in the palm is just very nice and comfortable. Now, onto the features of the Raze. There isn't really anything inventive about it. It's got multiple speeds, it's got a lock on it, which the other ones do as well. So I say it's about equal in the features category. Then in the category of closeness, we have to look at the Brio versus these two, and it's really hard to tell because without scientific tests that I just am not equipped to do, it makes it really hard to see which one of these really gets that much closer. And the reason why I say that is because they all have different mechanics and they all have different blade shapes and counts. Like this one here has 6 blades on it, so you get a little bit more coverage and more passes over the hairs. This one here is pretty much your standard, but it has a little bit more movement on the head, where the Brio has a completely different mechanism for controlling the blades. So to me, I'm gonna have to call that one about a draw, as I think that they may actually all get the same closeness. It just is kind of one of those things where without scientific testing, I can't really tell you guys, but I can tell you that it got close enough that I was okay and my head felt nice and shaved as long as I didn't, go against the grain. But that's gonna happen with any shaver. Next up is the shave speed, and we're just gonna look at how long it takes to shave the head. Now, on a 1-day shave, I would have to say that they're pretty close to the same. But on the 2- and 3-day shave, it did seem like that I was taking a little bit less time with the Brio Raze. Now, I'm not sure exactly what to chalk that up to. They say that their openings are a little bit wider than most other shavers. I can't confirm or deny that because to me they look pretty dang close. So all I can say is in my experience, it seemed like when I did have to shave for a little bit longer period of time that this wasn't quite as long as the other two. Now where the Brio I think really shines is the after shave part, because guys, cleaning this thing out is so much quicker, so much easier than the other ones that I have seen, because it is just one piece that very easily snaps on, snaps off of there, and you don't have to deal with 5 or 6 other little pieces that might or might not fall down and fit into your drain. So being able to just take this off, whether I was brushing it off or running it under the faucet, it was definitely quicker and much easier to do this in the shower than each individual blade. So the Brio Raze definitely comes out top on the cleaning category. And speaking of cleaning, the only thing that I wish that they would change on the Brio Raze, which wouldn't even be that big of a change I don't think, would be to add some little holes in the top of these little nubs that stick out to allow water to go into there and help rinse out the hair when you are in the shower or shaving at the sink, because when you are using a shave cream, a shave oil, whatever, these do tend to get clogged up a little bit quicker. And I just think that it'd be a nice little addition so you don't have to, take it apart and completely rinse it out every time to finish shaving. I would also like to know what the white part down here is, because I got this battery down to like 7% and it never lit up or blinked at me, so I'm not real sure what that little white plastic piece is for. Maybe it's there just to make me wonder, I don't know. Now for the comparison that we are all waiting for, which is the price. Well, if I'm correct, these both came in right about $50 to $65, which is right around the same price that the midline shavers come in at that are made specifically for the head. Coming in at just under $70, and I mean just under as in $1 or $2, the Brio Raze is very competitively priced. And I think out of the ones that I have reviewed so far, I would have to lean towards going for the Brio for one reason and one reason only. Yeah, that alone is worth the extra $5 that it might come in at. And now that you made it through this video, do I think that this is worth your money? I absolutely do. Mainly because it does the job that it's supposed to do, and if you're looking for a shaver because whether your head is a little bit too sensitive for a razor, or you're looking for a on-the-go option, or you just want something to shave with in between razor days, I think the Brio Raze, although it's kind of got a funny name, is well worth the money. Now, if your hair is much longer than 3 to 4 days long, you're gonna need to chop it down with something, so make sure to check out my review of the Beardscape right here. Down below, it's gonna be a video that you may enjoy as well. Until next time, as always, you have a good one.